working? Yeah. Okay, channel is live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to play some Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo!
Ooh,
Yeah, we
welcome
are.
to
Oh,
Dungeons and
yeah.
Dragons.
I am Christiana Ellis, and I am the Dungeon Master, and I am trying to rearrange my windows so that I can make sure I'm doing the sound check adequately. Our players tonight: Mark Kilfoyle as Nedry slash Vertigo,
Hey, we're about to do something, and it's going to be great.
Paul Fisher as Zinhorn Windborn,
Good evening.
Starla Hodgson as Carolina Swift,
Hello, friends.
and Jenny Meltzer as Zaline.
Hello.
When last we left our heroes, they had been traveling deep, deep, deep beneath the World Tree Emirate Arboris in search of a piece of an elaborate Titan machine that they believe will help them save the world or something of that nature. They discovered along the way that it was likely in the clutches of the Siphoner Queen, who seems to be at the head of a dangerous faction of individuals who are cursed, corrupted, blessed, using a type of magic where they somewhat vampire like suck magical energy out of other beings, and they can also pass this affliction on to others. When you showed up, they certainly made a big show of introducing you to the queen, and she made you an offer. You had been expecting that you might have to fight her for this piece of this machine, but instead, she told you that this was really all a setup, that your real enemy was just trying to pit you against each other so that you would each weaken yourselves while he maintained his strength, and then he would just try to take this last piece of the machine from you or from whoever left with it. Meanwhile, this true enemy is an extra dimensional blob that is also maybe now has taken over a bunch of mechanical construct makers and a lot of new magic, and it also seems to be wanting to assemble this machine. It's all a big mess. But despite believing that these siphoners are themselves terribly destructive, they are currently drawing energy out of the world tree. But they agreed to help you in the fight against this giant blob known as the Destroyer in exchange for you taking this piece of the machine and leaving peacefully. That's something that will probably come back up at some point. In the meantime, though, you need to figure out what you're doing next. You have your tree climber guide, Melody of the Winds, with you still. She's a little shocked by all of this. It's a little bit above her pay grade, so to speak. You had talked about going to retrieve the Diamond of Infinite Facets, a very powerful magical artifact that you left in the middle of the ocean. And you have other things to potentially prepare for in figuring out what's happening with the Destroyer and how are you going to handle this next big step. So tell me, Pocket Protectors, what would you like to do?
We need to go and get that diamond.
Yeah, that.
Yep, that thing.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Let's break out the raft. I'll
I thought
paddle
we were
first shift.
just didn't Nedrico say that we could just gate right there?
Oh, that would be faster.
it would be one way there, but it wouldn't provide any way back. I
But
can
we
only
had a
do it
boat
once.
that we left, didn't we?
What you did is you had a boat that you took out there, and then you had brought the pieces to make a sort of platform. that the diamond would be affixed on, from which you could penetrate the magical shield that was around the island, right? The platform is what you left there. The boat, you were
We rode in
on your
on.
way towards the island, but you were sort of intercepted by one of these constructs who brought you in the rest of the way. But your boat isn't just still floating there by the platform. The platform, however, is affixed by 2 immovable rods, and so unless someone else has come along to interfere with it, it's probably exactly where you left it.
We'll probably need to borrow or hire a boat.
All right. Well, I mean, we did talk about going to get the crabaratus.
I don't know if that floats as much, though.
It
I'd
goes
rather
along
not.
the bottom.
Yes, I'd rather not.
It did
though.
have a mode where it could go along the surface, kind of like a submarine does.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a little bit too far? Like I thought we had
No, it was
So
decided it was
close
out
to
of
where we
range.
were.
what we had established is the where you left the platform is basically equidistant between the island of Dinethera itself and around, like, just south of Emersham where the Crabaratus was. The other thing, though, worth noting about Emersham is that it is the place that did sign a contract with the construct makers. And so they do have their sort of first mainland landing.
And the construct makers have been overtaken by the blob.
Well, yes, you did hear something to that effect. The Siphoner Queen said so.
Yeah.
You don't know exactly what that means.
But that actually might be an opportunity for us to go see in person what is happening. If they're in Emersham, it wouldn't be in their heart of their power. They might be able to see what the peripheral looks like for them. Maybe even see if they've fractioned.
Yeah. I think it's worthwhile.
And there we can hire a boat, or maybe you can hire the Crabaratus. I'm not going in that again, though.
Couldn't that only fit like 3 people anyway?
Yeah, it
Something
was
like that,
something-
yeah.
It was excessively small.
Yeah, so it's
I think you
not
guys
going to work
have
for us anyway.
means by which you could deal with that.
Yeah. Like we could shrink you down.
Or put the tower inside, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, if we're not going to do that, then we need to at least find somewhere we can get.
Emersham also has
shit.
boats. It is a port city.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does Melody know a pathway through the tree to Emersham?
She does, yeah. This is kind of what the the tree does in its more standard way.
The only thing we'll have to watch out for is if there's any corruption on the other end as we get closer to Emersham. If the construct makers have been overtaken, it very well could be somewhat dangerous an entry.
Yeah. But we also left our friends there. So, I mean, we haven't had any communication with them for a while. So, do we even know where they are? I mean, we
Our-
could always ask if Sunya could take us there.
Oh, that's a good point. We do have access to a flying castle.
Where did we leave the flying castle, though?
They didn't they drop us off? Or they were gonna go somewhere while we were, I don't remember. It's
I
been
think
so-
aren't they still in
The
not
capital city, I
Villanocta.
think.
Yes,
Pashan.
Pashan.
Bashan.
Yeah, I think
That
they're
is
still
where
there.
you last left
Because
them,
we teleported to
yeah,
Emerald Arboris
yeah.
to leave.
Mm-hmm.
It would take them quite a while to bring Sunya all the way over. Whereas if we go by Emerald Arboris, well, how long would it take us, Melody? I don't know how to navigate here.
She says, well, from here, I think that we're not terribly far, and we're not really even crossing plains so much to get there. So it wouldn't be too far, maybe something like 12 hours journey if we went straight through.
And I think for Sunya to get, well, to
I
get
don't
that
know how
far.
fast.
I believe we had previously established that it was 3 days from Pashan to Emersham.
Yeah.
Well, I
It would be
mean,
good to check in with them anyway when we emerge back into the material plane.
yeah.
But
I
they
mean,
were
who knows
also,
what we're gonna face? It might be good to have our allies like nearby.
I know
Um,
that the Friend of the Empire and others were sending scouts to all of the places near Denethir, so at least
yeah,
if we could send a
we
report to
actually
them.
heard that. Didn't we hear that they hadn't heard back from someone?
The specific group that they sent to check out word that there were these siphoners who were a threat, they sent that group, and that group was they lost contact with. So there were other groups sent to Denethor, but the one that went to the city itself to look for the siphoners was lost.
Because somebody was to make contact with the rebels, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, to Emersham then, and to hire a boat to get the diamond, as well as check in on whatever's happening. Does
Yep.
that sound like a plan?
Yeah, that sounds like a
a
plan.
plan to me. And we're traveling through the tree, right?
I think that seems like
Isn't
the
that what-
fastest way.
Okay. All right. Did we take a long rest?
I don't think you have not
Not
yet
recently.
taken a long rest since you talked to the Siphoner Queen.
Okay.
Yeah, we rested by the funny stones there,
Yeah.
moss things.
Yeah. So you
Okay.
took a long rest before then, but then you did some stuff. So
Uh-huh. I just wondered because my hit points were at
yeah, you
But
fought
we're at
you fought
max.
the like the rotting clouds.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah, so you could certainly take a long rest if you wanted at some point. You're
Mhm.
making your journey. I think you probably would want a long rest before completing your current journey, unless you wanted to do a forced march and try to find somewhere to rest in Emersham.
I think we
No.
could I think we could like start our journey and then maybe find a place to rest like midway through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would that work?
12 hours is a very long walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna heal myself so that I'm back to normal and hope for the best.
All right.
All right.
So you set out on this journey, and you are presumably searching for a good place to make camp for a long rest somewhere along the way. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and someone make a survival check with advantage because Melody is helping.
I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a
29.
29.
Yeah. So,
And I didn't do it at advantage yet.
sure. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Well, look at that. Double 29s. I think, yeah. So,
Wow.
you are able to find a lovely little underground grove that has lots of sort of bioluminescent, lichen providing light, and the temperature's just right, and there's a little freshwater stream running by, and it seems very sort of sheltered and protected and easy to, make sure that nobody's sneaking up on you. So, I think, midway along this journey, you are following, the roots and branches of this tree, but as you move further away from the siphoner's domain, it does look, more and more healthy. The corruption has not spread this far yet, and you do find this very comfortable and apparently safe place to have your long rest, if that's what you would like to do. And we'll say that's halfway. right.
I think that would be good.
Okay.
All right. So, unless anyone has any other business that you want to deal with, we can go ahead and just say that the rest of the travel is uneventful, unless you wanted to do anything else.
I have nothing else.
Um, I want to try. This is so tough a choice. Um, I'm going to, instead of any other effects, I got to be careful here. I'm going to unattune to protective verses
Okay.
and attune to the wheel.
All right.
Um, just to see how that works.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm pulling up my own little creation here. Um, but yeah, so um, is this the first time anyone has actually attuned to one of these machines?
I think
feel
so.
like it. I feel like it is. None of you have been tempted so far to actually attune to them. When you do so, this is a as we had previously described, this piece of the machine is uh, somewhat bigger than some of the others. It's a little bulkier. It sort of has pieces of like a larger frame. And then when we say wheel, we don't mean like the wheel of a cart. It's more like the steering wheel of a ship, if anything. And when you attune to it, you find that you have just this heightened awareness of the world around you and the magic that is flowing around you, and in particular, magic that feels like you can almost imagine that you see lines of fate drifting by, and it has all of the other benefits that you, of course, see um, on that item description.
So the other book's still on his hip in its
Mm-hmm.
normal pouch, but I don't know how he would carry this. Is it something he would like put on his back, or does he kind of?
I think that yeah, I think that it could be sort of rigged up with a little work to sort of wearing it almost like a turtle shell on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty obvious that they've taken this out of the pouch and then kind
Mm-hmm.
of strapped it on uncomfortably, probably because it's fairly probably bulky and
Mm-hmm.
somewhat heavy. Um, and then just kind of looking around and probably reaching out every once in a while and then writing some things with his pen in midair to kind of take notes.
Mm-hmm.
Probably would do that in the evening and like as we're before we're sleeping, and then in the normal course of his nighttime studies, that's what he would be taking notes on and trying it a few times, floating slightly above the chair probably at some point
Mm-hmm.
as he tries it.
All right. Great.
Um, Now, the dangerous step. He's going to try to touch that part of the blob that he's still connected to see what its sense
Mhm.
of these things are.
Okay.
See if it is absorbed the magic of them, if it is separate from it. That's the kind of thing he's trying to
Mm-hmm.
feel for. But he knows how dangerous this is, but
Sure.
can't resist himself.
Yeah, let's see. I think let's have you make a wisdom saving throw.
I'll make it then +1. And 19.
Okay. And how about an arcana check on top of that?
Arcana. 28.
Okay, yeah. So I think you are able to sort of reach out in almost not quite as a full astral projection, but it's almost like halfway there. Like it's as though you're able to send your perception out of your body and follow it along a sort of fateful tether that has been connecting you and currently connects this machine to other parts of the machine. And you do sense that, especially, this piece that you have, the wheel, wants to be with the rest of the pieces. Now, something you had previously seen when you had all of the other pieces is that you had not, as of yet, dared to actually try to put any of them, like, assembled. And in fact, even when you just sort of put them in close proximity, they kind of started to vibrate in a way that felt as though there was powerful magic being sort of ramped up, even with just them in close proximity. But you now get the sense that all of the rest of the pieces have been assembled, now waiting only for this one. And you have a feeling that this, you can't quite get like a little ping on a map that tells you where they are, but you can almost kind of see them. It's strange. It's somewhere dark. The space around it seems weirdly thick and like murky somehow. But you can sense the rest of the machine, and you sort of feel like that sense would probably become even more powerful as you get closer. You also fully expect that the destroyer with the other parts of the machine is likely to have that same sensation, if not more so. Potentially much more so, on the basis of it having all of the rest of the pieces. You get the sense that it is moving. And you are right now feeling as though if you were to creep very silently into a cave and see a sleeping bear, and as of right now, it does not seem to have responded to you. Do you feel like you want more information at the risk of waking the bear, so to speak? Or will you withdraw with what you have learned so far?
As a guide stone for what everything he's done
Mm-hmm.
and the ideas that he's gone after. Two things come to mind. Three, really.
Mm-hmm.
The personality trait I chose for the very beginning was there's nothing I like more than a good mystery.
Mm-hmm.
The ideal I chose was no limits. Nothing should fetter the infinite possible inherent in all existence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his flaw, well, I'll mention his bond too, which is why he writes every day. My life's work is a series of tomes related to a specific field of lore. And then his flaw is I'm easily distracted by the promise of information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he would actually absolutely look for more information.
Sure. I just wanted it very clear that this was your choice.
Yep. It's not like he hasn't made bad choices before.
Yeah. So what type of additional information are you most interested in? Like, if you were to ask one question that I would answer for you, what question would that be?
Oh, okay. What's the answer to life, the universe, and everything? No, oh, in this instance, so many questions come to mind, as always. I think in this instance, he's most curious about the machine and its purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be kind of the what what is the end product of the machine coming together? Because that's never really been clear.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it has something to do with
So
the undoing of
just
things.
as a reminder, because it's been a little while,
Mm-hmm.
your understanding of what this machine is that there is this Titan artifact known as the Pillar, is capable of granting wishes that are perhaps not inevitably, but nearly always turned in some way that's not what the wisher would desire. And this is something that has caused a lot of problems over time. And in your attempt to find out what you can do about it, you were told that the thing could not be destroyed, but it could be seen in a new way.
Right, and we
And
also had the term somnic filter come up too.
yes, and so I'll come back to that in a moment. And so what you had been told by the designer of this machine is a being known as Kosh, had said that no mortal mind could fully comprehend the whole machine. And in fact, the only way that it could even be built was that each individual inventor could only be inspired to build a mere part of it. And it would have, each part would have to be made by a different person, or else they lose themselves and go mad. So that's what you knew about the machine from Kosh, who asked you to find the pieces, put them together, is that it would allow you to see the pillar in a new way, and this was presented as a solution to the problem. But it is true now that the Siphoner Queen, who seemed to have a fair amount of information about this and was cagey about how much she was willing to share with you, did just straight up call it a somnic filter. And so you want to know more about what you would expect it to do when it were assembled, or
I think because he's really in touch with the mind of the blob, it's also
Mhm.
what it expects it would be
Sure.
able to do.
So yeah, I think that okay, yeah, for sure, I can. So it is less a matter of what does the machine do, and more is what is the blob intending to do? Like, what does it want
Yeah.
to do? Okay. So in that case, I'm going to have you make an insight check.
Oh, okay.
And this insight check is going to go along with a charisma saving throw.
Okay. These are going to be bad. Let's see how this works.
I think the charisma saving throw is. Oh boy! Oh boy!
Oh
Where'd
wait,
it
no.
go? Wait. Oh.
Wait. How does that feature work? Shit.
I was going to. So, just for everyone's benefit, he did just roll a natural one on that.
When you make an
insight.
ability check that fails, you can spend one sorcery point to re-roll the d20. That's magical guidance. It's a sorcery trait.
Yeah. All right.
I forget to use it.
What was your species? Are you
He's a gnome.
He's a gnome.
a gnome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you have that luck thing
No,
too?
that's
that
a
you can...
Halflings.
thing.
Halflings. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I can spend a sorcery point to re-roll.
Yeah.
That I will at least probably, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Did I prematurely roll, or was there something else you wanted to explain?
So the charisma saving throw, I was going to say, I think it is at disadvantage. This is a powerful thing here, and you've probed deeper.
Sure.
And so, however, though I am calling it for disadvantage, this is a magical related thing, and I believe as a gnome you would naturally have. Is that
No, only intelligence and wisdom saves.
only intelligence and wisdom? I would have assumed charisma was thrown in there. Oh well.
Yep. No, it's weird.
Okay, so go ahead and re-roll your insight.
Let's just hope this is not a 1 again. Okay, that's not a 1. That's an 18.
18 is better. Yeah.
And now we do the with disadvantage charisma save.
Yeah.
18.
Wow, look at that. Okay. So, I think with your 18 insight, you don't really have an awful lot of detail about like the specific mechanisms, or like you don't have like a visual of what it's precisely going to do. But you do know that the pillar's history is that of a Titan's weapon left behind. You glean that the destroyer thinks that with the machine, it will be able to draw and wield that weapon. Your charisma saving throw, 18, is pretty good for not having a high modifier. The thing that you are up against here, I think that you are still going to take, let's see. When are you doing this? Like, is this sort of in the middle of the night over this long rest, or?
It will be before kind of everybody's really settled because it's just
Okay.
the evening. Because he's going to have a normal rest
Okay.
once he's made his notes.
All right, that ends up not too bad. You're going to take 11 psychic damage.
Okay.
And then I think like wherever you had kind of set yourself up, wherever you were kind of just like sitting while you focused on this, everyone else, you're going to notice that he suddenly kind of like lurches over to the side and briefly looks like he's having a seizure of some kind. And you take 11 psychic damage, and this seizure only lasts a few seconds, but you feel briefly, Vertigo, like you don't really understand how it could be capable of it. Maybe it can't. But what it wanted to do when it sort of probed back at you is it wanted to claim your mind for itself. You don't know that it would be capable of it. You don't understand how it could be, but that is what it seemed like it wanted when it tried to sort of reach back. And the thing that is unambiguous, though, is that this communication that you've got here goes both ways.
Okay.
And he'll immediately start writing. Just kind of pages after pages. And the notes aren't probably the most coherent that he's ever written, and probably there's parallel tracks of different notes that he keeps bouncing back and forth, strange little diagrams that kind of get half finished and then, get absorbed by the writing that's there.
That would be very bad. Okay, all right. Gonna not do that. Must remember to do some more protection next time. If there's a next time, which I kind of hope there's not a next time, although it's very useful to have. Ah, boy.
I don't know if anybody else is noticing, but yeah, muttering to himself. The notes and his speaking voice are kind of getting mixed, so that sometimes you think he's just saying out loud the notes that he's intending to writing, and then maybe writing something else. Probably there's that
I
trickle
feel-
of psychic blood falling out of his nose kind of thing.
I feel like over the last few months we've seen enough from of this kind of thing that nobody would bat an eyelash.
Yeah.
We'd just be like, oh, it's just Nedrigo being Nedrigo.
So, just to briefly make a tangential reference, there's a scene in Cowboy Bebop, the anime, where Radical Edward, this hacker character, is fiddling with some equipment, sitting on the floor of this common room while everyone else is watching them try to do this, and then they mess something up and appear like they're getting an electric shock. They go, and then they collapse to the ground, unmoving, smoking. And everyone else is just standing there going, okay, nobody moves. And then she just springs back up again and starts working again without a word. And it just made me think of that here. Everyone is just like, oh, okay, something happened. Do we need to interfere? No? Okay, he seems like he's got it. Yes,
Just
anyway. So the only other thing that I'll mention here, because you all did mention it at the end of the last session, is that there was talk of um, Vertigo, you potentially wanting to have a conversation with your ring, and Zaleen potentially wanting to try to commune with the Mistress of the Dark. Now, none of that has to happen now. I'm just mentioning it in case anyone is like, "Oh, right, I wanted to do that." So
I was gonna say that. I was just
okay,
waiting
well, there you go. I didn't
for
mean to jump
Mark's
the gun.
moment was that I still
Sure.
wanted to do that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay,
I
so
feel dirty.
so tell me, you have found this sort of nice, tranquil little underground grove. Um, it's a calm place. What do you do to try to prepare yourself for this? What is your means by which you want to reach out to the Mistress of the Dark?
I would like to focus on some of the fungi because they have a tendency to feed off of things that are decaying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like a natural cycle, and just sort of focus on that energy and like
Mm-hmm.
how that's, something that people need to consider, and that death is okay. Like
Mm-hmm.
it feeds life, and just sort of like getting back into my own mindset and
Mm-hmm.
trying not to let my guilt like overrun me, because I do feel very guilty
Mm-hmm.
about abusing that power and longing for it. So I will just start my meditations like
Okay.
focusing on the fungi.
Are you specifically trying to reach out and initiate contact, or are you just kind of hoping that it will come?
I am I'm hoping. I feel like the last couple of times that I did try to like commune with her, it did not work, for whatever reason or another. So I'm hopeful
Mm-hmm.
that like she can feel me trying to reach out to her, but I don't know at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I don't know how.
Mm-hmm. So as you are, descending into this not quite unconscious but somewhat trance-like meditative state, focusing on these fungi, I feel like you start to get a sense that the fungus is growing at uh, a rate that simultaneously to your perception seems fast and yet seems entirely natural within this trance-like state. It is growing, and you realize that it's spreading. You feel like you can sense the mycelial network underground, unseen, spreading. This is something where you fully would know that the part of a mushroom, for example, that you see above the surface is really only almost the smallest part of the actual organism, which extends underground in these like root-like shapes, and all of this is sort of overlapping in its parallel imagery with following the roots of the world tree, but also the ways that the corruption was spreading, and these various different thematic like parallel images are all kind of coming to mind. And there is still within this state this feeling as though you are so still that you have become part of the terrain here, and the fungus has started to like move onto you and to colonize you as well. But this, just like in a dream, sometimes something that might in a normal sense be alarming but feels perfectly natural and ordinary, even desirable in a dream. And you sort of just feel as though this is representative of you becoming part of your environment here. And as you feel this connection forming, everything else kind of goes away, and it's just you all alone in this underground cavern. But then you can't quite make yourself look up to see, but you can sense through this fungal network that there is another humanoid figure sitting directly across from you. You don't look up to see them with your eyes. You feel like that would be a mistake even if you could make yourself do it. But you can sense that they are there nonetheless.
Who are you?
Who are you?
I sometimes I think I know, but most days I have no idea.
No idea.
None. Who are you?
Who are you?
I don't know. Sometimes I think I do. But mostly I just go through the motions because I'm here and I care, but I don't I don't know who I am or who I'm supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Is that even a thing? Like, isn't everybody supposed to be somebody or something? Or I don't know. I think like all of my friends, they they feel like they have purpose and they know where they came from. Nedry just wants to know everything, but that's part of who he is, and I don't know who I am. Should I?
Should I?
Maybe. Maybe. No, I don't even know why I'm talking to you. I, I just, I used to feel so connected, like way back in the beginning. And I thought I had a purpose. And then I fulfilled it, kind of. And now I'm just sort of here. And I kind of should be dead, but I'm not. It's, it's all like so confusing. And like the stuff that's happening right now is terrifying because I felt it and I wanted it. And I know that's wrong.
No, that's wrong.
I know it is. I could feel it. Even when I was doing it, I felt it. And I didn't mean to.
Didn't mean
I
to.
feel I feel so far away and disconnected. I used to talk to her a lot, all the time. She was like my everything. My peace, my madness. She's been so quiet.
Quiet.
I don't know why. I'm like fighting with myself because I want to look up.
Mm?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can understand why you might feel that way. Do you?
Yes.
You look up, and what you see looks like your own reflection, but all silhouetted in shadow, but just matching you move for move. And as you look up, you feel sort of a sense of wind almost blowing through, and you realize that you are waking out of your trance.
I do I still have like are there actual little fungi on me, or was
No.
that just part of the trance?
Yeah, that would there's nothing. Like the one you were focusing on to start is still there, but
I'm gonna sit there for a little while and try to find
mhm.
my thoughts because I'm like a little
Mhm.
discombobulated. So I'm
Sure.
just gonna
Yeah.
sit there in the quiet,
Mhm.
and I am going to look through my stuff.
If you like, you can also make a religion check if you are trying to if you feel like you think in character Zaline might have a little more insight to what needs to happen, or
$17.
if you want, like, I mean,
Oh no, 14.
well, 14. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that it is something that has come more naturally to you in the past. You can't imagine that this is not a situation that she would have thoughts about. The fact that she is not communicating with you in the way that she has before is probably not just because she decided you're not important anymore or something like that. But you're not really sure what else that might mean. Um, but it may be that she thought that 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 would not be the right thing for her to do at this time.
I think that that would actually make Zaleen feel even more guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's being punished for like reaching beyond for power that shouldn't have been hers.
Hmm.
Because all of her power comes from her mistress. So, trying to go outside of that to become even more powerful, I think she feels like her guilt is already pretty heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that not connecting with her in the way that she was hoping would make her feel more guilty.
Well, what I'll say with the 14 though is also that that's not like her thing is not usually like punishment and justice, right? That's not really her vibe most of the time.
No, but I'm saying that
Mm-hmm.
that Zaylene feels that way
Sure, yeah.
because of like, playing around with power that she shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So that even though that is not something that she would
Mm-hmm.
expect, I think that Zaylene actually feels like that's
Well,
what's happening.
I
Like
think
she deserves to be punished.
yeah. So I think specifically what you think happened here is it was not a conversation the way you've had in the past, but you received a vision of sort of a reflection of you repeating things back to you.
Mm,
And that's probably not just like, you know,
a coincidence.
an echo or a coincidence.
Okay, I'm gonna sit there.
All right. Okay. And anyone else have anything for tonight? Otherwise, the long rest passes uneventfully.
I think in the morning, as we're starting to gather,
Mm-hmm.
that's when he'll explain the vision that he had and the urgency. He'll have diagrams, but they're incomprehensible
Sure.
because they were they're still half in his mind and half on the paper. So I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I sort of thought that it would want to absorb the weapon of the Titan, but now I feel like it wants to wield it, and that would be worse. With its reality shaping power, I think would be much worse. As for what would happen if we have the device and are able to approach the weapon, I'm not really sure what that means entirely, other than that we would be able to interpret it a lot more effectively and maybe turn some of its ability to our own purposes carefully. I will take more protection and caution next time because it did lash out somewhat effectively. I may have been a little eager.
That was
I
a
will say
dangerous
that,
thing
like,
to do.
Well, these are dangerous times.
I will say that wrapped up in my own brain. Like I don't even say anything because I feel like this is a lesson that he should have learned at this point.
So, when you are all ready, you can resume your journey. Melody says that the branch that she knows that's closest is actually going to it's not going to emerge right in the middle of town. It's about a mile and a half or so on outside the city itself, but seems like reasonably close. But it just means that unless they've got someone who's just right there by where it emerges, you're presumably going to be able to enter the city on your own terms. So you do so. It is
Yeah.
sort of a rocky scrub terrain here. You know, you're not too far from the ocean, but this part is a little you know, it's kind of an arid terrain here. It's a little bit drier just because the you know the prevailing winds blow kind of out to sea more often. So you've got a little bit of a you know it's there's their path. I think it's not a heavily traveled road, but there's a path that would lead you to the city. You can which you can sort of see in the distance.
So we can kind of see Emersham in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
One of the features when we get closer to the construct makers was there was a sort of smoke or pall that was over the entire place, I seem to recall.
What you actually discovered at that time was that it wasn't them; it was you. It
Oh,
was
right,
emerging
right,
from all of you.
right, right.
So
Okay.
it was a little bit of a misperception there. However, you do nonetheless see when you see the city from a distance is that there is some kind of a very large structure, um, much larger than any of the other buildings in the city. Um, that is it's new and it seems to be kind of off to one side, not kind of quite right in the middle of the city or anything, but there is some new structure there, sort of not quite a cube but blocky, and it just towers over the every other building. So the other buildings in the city, you know, Emersham is a little smaller than Pashan, and so it has you know maybe one or two 4-story buildings, but nothing much taller than that. This thing is easily double that.
Well, they're here. Um, do do we need to protect ourselves or um, disguise ourselves or something? Not
I
really.
was gonna say, like,
I mean,
maybe we should.
The last time you spent any time in the town, you won a big beach festival.
Oh, yeah.
We're celebrities here.
True.
We had to,
Yeah,
like,
but the people they're allied with are also we are not on their good list.
No. They are not liking us at all. Uh,
Um,
I
I'm
mean,
thinking a
we're
disguise would
celebrities.
be a good idea.
so Melody says, so I feel like there's information from this mission that needs to be shared with home base, but if you wish, I will continue to travel with you, but otherwise I will return to the city, Emirate Arboris, and let them know what I've seen.
I think that would be as
Probably for
long
the
as you
best.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you'll be safe.
We didn't notice any corruption on this end coming through Emirate Arboris, eh? Okay.
As you moved away from, you know, where the siphoners were, it was less and less until you didn't really see any sign.
Good.
But she just said she bows to all of you and says, "It has been a terrifying honor and a divine privilege to have traveled with you. Good luck."
It was our pleasure to have you as our guide, and I hope you will stay safe through the coming troubles.
I'm
You
gonna step forward and I'm going to cast if I can find it.
Finger of
Sorry,
death.
you can keep talking.
Sure.
I'm gonna cast Death Word on.
Okay, great.
Okay. Uh,
She looks like she would be open for a hug, but she's not sure that you're in the mood for it.
Well, I'm definitely giving her a hug.
Okay.
I give her a big hug and then I give her a kiss on the cheek and say, please pass that on to Amethyst for me.
She nods.
you did well. I hope you don't die soon.
She's not gonna die. I gave her Death Word.
No, even better.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
I
It's
hope
dangerous.
you don't die either.
I meant it in the best way.
No, I appreciate it. I thank you. Thank you. She kind
Be
of does
safe.
look back at Zaleen though. Did Zaleen
Yeah,
seem
I will hug her, and as
okay?
I'm hugging her, I'm gonna tell her, try to find a way to send us a message so we know you made it back.
Okay. She she says I will. All right. So with that, she sort of withdraws back into this sort of she follows what looks like a tree branch just kind of emerging from an opening and goes back into and this tunnel and out of sight. And when she's gone, you realize there's not a tunnel there. It was kind of only there when she was traveling it.
So, I was thinking, do you remember that fisherman that we met when before we went to the Temple of Marushka? Maybe since we fixed the temple, he would maybe be willing to like ferry us out there. But we'd have to find him and we have to be disguised. I know it.
Trying to find his name. I don't think I made note of it.
Oh God, that was 100 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
There's like 3 books of it.
Yeah.
Mark,
I don't
Mark,
even remember my
get your
name.
notes out.
Let's
All right,
see.
so these are the notes so far.
So look for the Temple of Marushka, and
Uh-huh.
like when we were going there to do
Oh.
the work, when we were looking for ways to get in to help with the excavation,
Mm-hmm.
before we did that, we met a fisherman who told us a
Yeah.
story about how everything had gone wrong because the sea was angry.
Yeah, sorry, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually 5 volumes prior to this one.
The only name I have written down for Emersham is Aurelia, and I don't think that's right.
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure I ever had that character's name in my notes. I think
I
it
don't
was
know.
probably just a found NPC in that session.
We could just give him a new name. No one would know. Maybe he rededicated himself to Marushka and took, you know, a spirit name. But I don't know. Maybe we could find that guy. He was in the tavern. That was where we met him. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't remember anything else though. Like whole campaigns of Blur, I remember that guy.
Well, I mean, it'd be easy enough for me to do a little recon. Just change my face and I'll be fine. um,
Well, one of us is not going to have problem with a disguise. What do the rest of us do?
I
well, there's always the tower, and somebody can
Yeah.
just carry them around. I also
yeah,
have
we can
polymorph.
like we can split the party. Polymorph only makes you an animal, like unless you have true polymorph, then true polymorph can let you morph into something else, but regular
Make you a
only
little
makes you
bird
like a
and put you on my
butterfly.
shoulder, and it'd be really cute.
Can I be a raven?
Absolutely.
Then I'll do it. How long does polymorph last? An hour?
Yeah.
Or is it like
I believe it's
okay?
an hour.
Yeah, I'm up for it.
Let's see what are we doing here? What's our plan? Is it plan like it's
I'm
not a
waiting for y'all to
4-letter
tell
word?
me.
Everybody into the tower. I'm a burb.
Okay, so we're gonna go look for the fisherman guy that gave us a ride to the Temple of Marushka before, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So yeah, I can polymorph saline into a bird, and that lasts up to an hour. And then I can, let's see, what face do I want to wear? Eeny, meeny,
My
miny.
adorable boyfriend face.
Okay, yeah, sure. We'll go with the dark elf. We'll go with can't remember his name.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. Okay. Irinel, that's his name. So a dark elf, a little goatee and
Mhm.
kind of smug looking, very flirty. So yes, that is the face that I'm gonna wear to go and look for this fisherman
Mhm.
with a bird on my shoulder. Nothing suspicious here, right?
Oh, you're a pirate.
Mhm.
It's a fantasy world. Everybody has a bird on their shoulder.
So
They
I
don't.
think,
There's something wrong with them.
Last year it was onions on the belt. This year, bird on the shoulder. It's a thing.
yeah. So I think it's about 10 a.m. As you sort of head further, closer to the city, uh, you definitely realize that there seems like there is a lot of activity happening near the port. Like, this is even just as you are kind of coming into the outskirts. You don't see a lot of people on the street out in the part that where you are. But you're getting closer, you realize that this new building has a pretty significant resemblance to that great big headquarters building that you saw in Dinuthir, that you were taken to um, briefly, where you met with that one sort of executive guy. It's not identical, but the design sensibilities are very similar. It's very large. It looks like it would be perhaps somewhat like an enormous assembly plant for large constructs, perhaps. But it also must have been magical in its construction, because it is looks to be very large and sturdy. And given that it has been only a matter of probably weeks since you were last here, and so for it to have sprung up out of nothing just since all of this happened means that it must be magical in its construction. But you, as I mentioned, don't see a lot of people on the street, kind of in the outskirts, and you see kind of people like here and there hurrying, but there's obviously a lot of activity that you can hear going on down at the ports, and you can see that there are a lot of ships and constructs in the port, like so many that it's like a traffic jam problem. And there's a lot of activity going on down there. Here and there, you see constructs on the street. One that looks like sort of it's a big, like grizzly bear sized warthog with a long horse like neck, is just sort of like patrolling up and down the streets. You see here and there, you see some of like the sea turtle kinds that are in the port. There's a lot of people seeming to come and go from the base level of that big factory building. Are you headed for the tavern, which was kind of in the port
that seems
neighborhood?
Yeah, that seems like the likely locations where we found him before.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. So I think that what you see as you're getting close to that tavern is that there is not just a lot of activity, but kind of a tense, frantic activity. You are getting the sense that there's a lot of people trying to deal with a lot of logistical problems very quickly. There's a nervous energy going on. And the tavern seems to have been kind of a rallying point for at least some of these people. So there's a lot of people coming and going. There's a lot of sort of like um, not tense conversations, but like hurried, impatient people making plans and trying to solve problems. That sort of vibe. You're seeing, of course, some people who look like locals, but also a lot of people who look like they are probably, you know, Dinuthair immigrants, refugees, colonists.
Um,
Infiltrators.
Hmm.
yeah. So definitely looking for that guy, but I don't know how difficult that's going to be.
Mhm.
Do I need to like roll for like investigation
Yeah,
or
so I would
something?
say, yeah, if you're just looking for him like in the tavern, I would say go ahead and roll an investigation.
Okay. Nope.
Yeah,
Didn't find him. I didn't see nothing.
there's a lot of people coming and going here, but you don't really see him. You don't see much of what you might ordinarily find at a tavern, meaning people just like sitting and having slower conversations and drinking. There seems like this is more like almost like a dynamic meeting room sort of situation going on right now. You can see that the barkeep is like being kept pretty busy, but also he doesn't look especially happy about it. Um, and but you don't see the captain you were looking for. However, him being a ship captain, it's you know quite possible he would be with his ship, so down at the port.
Right. We probably, well, I'm thinking like he probably told us what the name of his ship was.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Let's
because we
just
had to meet
decide
him there.
right now because we none of us have it in our notes. This is Captain Darrant.
That sounds like that's exactly what his name was.
Yeah, Captain Darrant of
The Ugly Betty.
the Ugly Betty. Okay. Captain Darrant of the Ugly Betty.
Um, I
Which,
guess
yeah.
not seeing him here,
Mm-hmm.
my next stop, I think, would, although it is pretty busy here, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to navigate this, but I'm thinking there's probably some kind of like port control or something like that. I mean, maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing in the tavern. I don't know.
Well,
Um,
yeah, so if you want, I mean, you were pretty busy looking just for this guy, and so I don't know that you noticed a whole lot else in there. But,
mhm.
if you wanted to kind of be getting a sense of more of what's going on around, you could do a perception check as well.
Yeah, might do that. Perception. And I
I can't
apologize
help
for
you.
because I keep hitting the mic.
Mm-hmm.
19.
Okay. So I think with the 19 perception, you get the sense here that part of the semi frantic nature of some of this planning is that there is a rather sudden arrival of many more people from Dinuther than seem to have been the original plan. And so a lot of these conversations seem focused on we have a whole lot of people. We're going to need somewhere for them to stay. We're going to need to arrange food and so on. And this is all got kind of the vibe of like this is sudden and unexpected, but we have to deal with it now because they're here. And this energy is coming not only from locals. It seems like everybody is a little taken on the wrong foot by something that had not been the plan but now has to be done. You no one is kind of really talking about bigger pictures, but that you do hear here and there. Um, we can't have them stay on the ships. That might not be safe. And there's discussion about whether they have the necessary leverage to move people further inland. And then there's a lot of still happening discussion that the recruitment of locals is still a priority because it's important to help establish the foothold, even though they have new workers from the ships.
Is there anybody sitting around that looks less busy or not busy, preferably, because I don't want to irritate them. Just somebody that's kind of standing out of the way that looks like they might have been here for a while.
So you see someone who looks like they are maybe trying to find a spot where they can stand for 10 minutes without someone telling them to go do something else? Is that kind of the vibe? Or because you don't
Well,
really see
what,
anyone who seems like
yeah.
they are just hanging out.
Well, the idea here is that I want to find somebody to talk to, but like I don't want them irritated because I'm bothering them because they're busy. So
Well,
maybe this is
so
not the good place to look for that.
like I said, right now what you're seeing here is seems like it's more Dinetherian people than locals, but the locals that are being that are here seem like they're being asked for things, and it's kind of a busy energy. There's a lot of logistical planning, as I mentioned. But like I think if you're just trying to find someone who's not doing something right this second, you can. But if you wanted somewhere a little more out of the way, quiet, that's not here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to go elsewhere. I don't think we're gonna find what we're looking for here. Um, yeah, so I guess I need to look for his ship, but maybe some actual sailors might have a idea of
Yeah.
where
I mean, you could head down
he is.
towards the port. Like, I think, you all spent enough time here that you kind of know the area at least a little bit, where there's kind of like the harbor master's building, and then there's some, the trade warehouses and stuff on the different piers and so on. And so I think even just heading down into that area, you can see that the Ugly Betty is in port. Although it looks like there's stuff being loaded off of, like unloaded from it right now.
Okay. Well, I'm going to head that way.
Okay.
And keep my eyes open for the captain.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that as you get there, you realize that what's being unloaded does look like it's equipment, perhaps meant for the factory, because it does seem to be of a design and similarity to different like construct components that you saw when you were in Dinethere, but it does seem to be like cargo as opposed to personnel effects and that sort of thing. But they've got a bunch of local sort of longshoremen types who seem like they are really irritated at being told what to do by Dinetherian types who are basically telling them how they have to handle everything, and it's causing some tension. And I think you see Captain Darrant kind of up on deck speaking with a Dinetherian man he's very much in a mode of, just because you're impatient doesn't mean I did anything wrong mode.
Okay.
So he looks like he is trying very hard to not let this guy get under his skin.
Okay. I'm going to look at the bird on my shoulder and say, do you think maybe we should wait a little while? So, like, I'm assuming that you can nod or shake your head or something, right?
I'm a bird right now. Like, I'm a bird.
I mean,
I'm looking for shiny stuff.
Ravens are relatively smart. I think that I would say you could.
They have an intelligence of 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, like their best.
I'm
best
going,
thing is wisdom and dex.
I feel like real ravens are smarter than that, but whatever.
Okay. I will definitely be like squawk.
Yeah.
Like make that cool raven noise so that like to agree that we should see if we can wait for an opening, but we can't wait too long because I'm not going to be a bird forever.
So does that, if she is transformed into a bird, like it says you take on the hit points of that creature.
With
But I don't
with
see.
polymorph, they take on all the stats. You know, friend and foe. So, like,
Okay.
it's not like she has forgotten entirely who she is, but it's not like a druid's wild shape where they retain
Yeah.
their mind.
Okay, yeah, I see. It says
Yeah.
Yeah.
ability
looking for
scores
shiny
replaced by the
things.
statistics. Okay.
I want shiny
Yeah.
things, and that's all I
Knows
care
enough
about.
that she's supposed to stay with you. I think like real ravens definitely can like recognize and distinguish humans. I think they can learn
do,
some
yeah.
words and stuff like that, and they're also, yeah, they're relatively smart. They're pretty smart for birds.
Okay.
They can mimic too. Like I can mimic things I hear. So if we need a distraction, I could make a baby crying noise. Like, just let me know.
I'm trying to decide what the best way forward is here because I don't want to cause any kind of a disturbance that would call attention to us by people that we don't want to have their attention on us.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he looks like he's busy because there's a lot going on, but by virtue of there's being a lot going on, it's like you don't see people like checking badges or anything like that. It's not, there's just a lot happening.
Okay.
Like
So you're
it's like
saying
it's
that
not
I
a high
could,
security situation, is what I'm
right.
saying.
So you're saying that I could just like walk up onto the deck of the ship and like nobody would stop me?
Probably. Well, I mean, you could try. You, there, you
Yeah,
don't. You
I'm
don't.
gonna
It's
walk
not
up
like
there like I
there's
belong
not
there.
guards or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah. Um, I mean, so it's like, for example, like if you were to go to a real dock and walk right up to one of those ships, there would probably be some point where someone would say, "Who are you? What are you doing?" But it's not like guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, I think as you are climbing up the deck, he kind of does like, look at you like, who is this now? And do you just kind of go over and stand patiently, or do you go to like intervene in some way? Because he's still getting read the riot act by this Dunatherian who seems like he's saying when now that you're close, he's saying your men need to treat this equipment with more respect. It is very precise, and although it is not terribly fragile, we don't need to have it scuffed. And I will see that you are held accountable if any of this is in the least mishandled. I am a representative of the new employer here in the city, and I don't think that you completely appreciate the level of respect that affords me. And the captain is just kind of going,
So I kind of want to be in the captain's eyesight, but like behind this other guy,
yeah.
and maybe make some like derogatory gestures. They're just real subtle, like rolling my eyes.
So yeah, I think as you're doing that, you definitely catch the look of the captain, and then there's a moment there where you see him like start to grin, but then he has to suppress it really quickly because the other guy's like, is something funny? No, no, sir. If you'll, so I want to make sure that I'm able to give you my undivided attention, sir. So if you can hold this just for a moment, let me have you talk to my first mate. I need to just find out who this other person is. It's like, well, I've never been treated this way. And he's like storming off. And so Captain Darren kind of comes over to you and just says, are you a new headache or are you a pain reliever?
Well, I would like to be a returning old friend, if that is okay with you. Perhaps you remember me from before, although it looked a little bit different then. Do you remember a group of adventurers you took out to the Temple of Marushka not too long past?
I do.
Well, that same group of adventurers would like to request your help once more. But it looks like you are very busy, so if this is not a good time, perhaps we could meet up later.
You're here on their behalf?
So I'm going
I'm a-
to from my pocket. I'm going to pull out a business card
Okay.
because that's what I do. And then trying to decide if I want to do this in public or not. With a quick like glance around just to see if anybody's paying attention. I'll just kind of do like a quick, like you see that quick shimmer, and like for a moment she's Lynn again.
Okay.
Or he's Lynn.
Wait.
But then
Wait.
What?
Mark just posted in our chat that the last time we were in Emersham, you wore an Arl or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I was the dark elf.
Yes.
Well, then you
So
should recognize
all
me.
right, well, yeah. Okay.
Mark
well, you
found
know-
everything.
Oh no! You know what? Now that gosh, sorry. This has been kind of a chaotic couple of days. What do you have in mind? Because I have to say, a job that would get me out of town for a little bit does not exactly, seem like something I would turn down.
Well, our destination may not be high on your places of to go visiting again, but we are in need of transportation up to basically the middle of the water. Somewhere between here and Dinethere.
To the middle of the water?
It's a little bit of a long story, and we would be happy to explain it to you at another point in time, perhaps. But when do you think all of this mess might be cleaned
Right
up?
now, as soon as they finish unloading this, I'm supposed to shuttle off of this port to make room for some of these other ships needing to come in and unload at the docks. And so we would be moving out from this pier in about an hour, and we're not going to be able to come back to the dock for at least a week.
Would you mind taking a few passengers on?
Are they paying passengers?
They can be.
They will be if they would like to come aboard.
Then we can arrange that.
Have them here.
I would like to thank you very much for your assistance once again. And we'll see you in roughly an hour.
We'll be leaving with or without them, so have them here.
And he'll give a long flourishing bow and then depart.
All right. And so he goes back to he actually, when he goes back over to this Dinetharian middle manager, he is suddenly now taking the tack of all right, we're getting all this stuff off the ship, happens now, move it, and basically is totally ignoring this guy who's trying to insist that it can't be scratched or scuffed or whatever.
Let's see. Kind of need to find a place to regroup now.
Yeah. I think
Tavern's not a
that
good place, but
you're
somewhere.
probably about 40 minutes into this polymorph hour.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, have to get somewhere that everybody can be told like what's going on and that we're be moving out shortly.
Mhm.
Maybe there's some kind of like I don't know, everything is so like busy and crowded right now. I'm trying to think if maybe there's some kind of like warehouse or just a shack.
I mean, there's definitely like warehouses, but it's like this close to the port. It's a busy area. It's clear that they are suddenly having to make room for a lot more people and stuff than it seems like they were ready for. And there is you see now that you're in the port that there's actually like a lot of ships like still out in the like harbor like waiting to come into the docks. And this yeah, and they don't like people don't seem like they were ready for it.
Okay. Yeah, I just need to find somewhere out of prying eyes so that we can jump into the tower and
Yeah. Well,
have a
I
conversation.
think you can without too much difficulty find just sort of a little blind alley that nobody's in at the moment. I can't guarantee you that no one's going to come by if you stay there long.
Yeah, so I want to set the tower kind of like behind some stuff.
Okay, sure.
So kind of hide it a little bit before
Mhm.
we go in.
Yeah. All right.
And then I'm gonna drop polymorph on Zaleen.
Okay. So,
And yeah. So now we are in the tower. Everybody still in one piece?
Yep. Just hanging out here with Buster and Edrigo.
We got some good reading done.
What
Well,
happened out there?
we have safe passage to where we need to go. Leaving in roughly an hour.
All right.
We will need to pay for passage, however. So,
Oh boy.
I don't know. I gotta look and see how much money I have.
I don't actually have any money.
I have
Uh,
18 platinum and 46 gold.
I've got 15 platinum and 93 gold.
I have not been keeping track of mine.
that you have enough to like this that's enough to like charter a ship voyage for sure.
Okay.
More than
All
enough.
right.
You suspect that would ordinarily be something more along the lines of maybe like 5 to 10 gold per person, depending on how far you were going. You get there that right now there might be theoretical premiums, especially if you're going to a weird place for mysterious reasons. But
So
yeah,
you could pretty much give him like 2 platinum, and that would probably be more than enough to cover it.
the point is you certainly have enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't
Right.
negotiate a price, but you've got plenty of the expected sort of order of magnitude.
Right. Is there anything else we need to prepare before our voyage?
Did you
Can I
find out
still be a
anything?
bird?
Did you find out anything about how the construct makers are working here? Are they corrupted by the blob's force, or
It's a little difficult to tell just in the brief time I was out there. I don't have the detect nightmare spell
I
that
mean,
you
you
do,
didn't
so
see
I
any
can't.
evidence of that. You saw a lot of sort of like petty bureaucratic types. You saw constructs moving around. There's a lot of them around. They didn't seem like blob-like.
Yep.
They seemed
No
to be
blobs to be found.
performing coherent tasks.
There was a lot of shiny stuff too.
good to know? Maybe that means that the corruption is more on a fundamental level. It did seem that their organization was roughly pyramidal. Maybe it's the root that has actually been corrupted.
Maybe.
Well, that's good. I'd rather not run into agents of the blob here anyway.
We still might. You never know. I think that it would be a good idea for everybody to stay in the tower until we're out away from all of the hubbub, because the port was pretty crowded.
That seems like a good idea.
I have no real disguise ability at all, so.
May I be a bird again when we leave?
Yes, when we leave, you can be a bird again.
Thank you. I like it.
Bird me.
Bird me up.
Verb. Okay. Is there anything else that we need to do before we go on the ship, or is that it? Just kind of biding our time?
If we need you, we'll pop in as quick as we can. Like if something comes up. Because there are a lot of construct makers out there.
Mhm.
Do people seem to be unhappy or oppressed?
No, it's
Kind
hard
of.
to say. Everyone seemed very busy. I believe that there is a larger influx of people coming here than was originally planned for. So there's a strain on resources and space.
Unsurprising. This land is largely uncorrupted, so lots of potential. Keep an eye out, of course.
So you can make your way back to the ship. Watch as they finish the unloading. Once you're aboard, the captain is kind of like looking to you. Is there more people? You kind of said that there were other passengers.
Yes. So I guess I don't necessarily want to do this like, but perhaps we could speak privately, like in his quarters or something. It's like,
Sure. All right. Not like I've
uh,
had much privacy of any kind lately. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, it brings you into the
So, yeah.
captain's
So
cabin.
then, like once they're in there,
Mm-hmm.
I would be like, just one moment, please, and I'll put the tower on the floor and knock on the door. Go in. It's like, let's go, everybody. Come on. And then we all show up in his office with money.
Except
Aha.
I'm a bird.
Okay.
I mean, I
Aha.
can
Okay.
drop polymorph.
All
Seemed like
right.
you were enjoying it, though.
All right. Well, that's a neat trick. Feels like I'm not sure why you need a ship. If you could do that
Well,
sort
where
of
we are
thing.
going is out in the middle of the water, so a boat is required.
You did say that. Do you know where in the water? The water's pretty
Precisely.
big. So here's
This
a
is
question. Do you?
So we had a
Well,
very specific spot, and when we're
yeah.
closer, he
So
does have locate object too.
you did not place it at a very specific spot. You went up to where you knew was the general idea. It's not like you picked an exact location.
But
How
if
well
we
do you
were
think
close
you remember
enough,
that one particular location within the ocean?
how far, like, can you do locate object? How far is the range?
It's 1,000 feet, so it's still quite a large distance. But
So if we
I think a
go,
roll will be needed to try to find it. If you can adjust the DC potentially by giving me other ways you would have to try to narrow it down. Got a for audio only. We have
It's a
an on camera
changed.
video
Hey man,
guest.
Cat was here.
Been too long.
for a moment there, I thought I saw Wuta.
Wuta, he probably forgot Wuta existed.
All right. So, who has ways that you might try to narrow it down? I mean, you know approximately what, like, the island of Dinnet there was in sight when the shield went down, so that you know you could probably gauge by that.
We know what direction too, like, wouldn't we?
I mean, approximately, yeah.
Were there any landmarks that we could have seen at that point that we could maybe try to recall?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you're wanting to just go by landmarks, then that's going to be like a survival roll.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
That is a 21.
Okay. Yeah, I think you. I think you can. You can basically tell him. You're heading to be. Like south of the island by about this distance, and I can guide you more precisely when we get there, because you're kind of just going based on like what did the island look like when you were there is kind of the method of navigation there.
We saw this really weird building with a prehistoric robot on it.
Mm-hmm. All right, so he is. Seems like he is in a hurry to get his ship back out into the water. Specifically because he's being asked to clear the docks so that another ship can come in and begin its own unloading. And he does kind of say, "We're not going to be staying out there too long, are we? I mean, what with everything happening, I don't know if it's super safe to be in this part of the water."
Have there been anything else happening besides this influx of um, new people?
Well, what do you know? Like, because this is this new influx. This is like today.
Oh,
Uh, they I mean, this is like, you know, they sent their expedition and their force that was supposed to build the factory, and they had people here that were going to run it, and it was all supposed to be happening on this timetable. And then, like yesterday, all of a sudden, dozens of new ships show up, and they're acting like refugees, if you ask me. And of course, they're not saying why, but I don't feel like this happens unless they're running from something.
interesting.
I don't know what, but that's why I don't want to take any chances. So I was
Yeah.
kind of hoping to be going somewhere further away, honestly, but can't turn down paying work right now.
Well, they may have encountered a sticky situation somewhere.
All right. So I think if you're just heading on out, is so like what are we gonna expecting to find in the middle of water? Like, how will we know when we're there?
I will explain to him what I came up with, like with
Okay, but what's there? Why are we
There's
going
a-
there?
well, we accidentally left something behind that we kind of need, and there's a platform there and some immovable rods, and
Wow, that
Essentially an anchor, I suppose.
sounds like a navigation hazard, but
Another good reason to remove it.
fair enough.
Exactly.
Okay, so you just need that. You need to get that thing, and that's it.
We'll remove the hazard.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. Where
When we're
then?
closer, I can pinpoint it more precisely.
Okay. Now, what was your plan for next? Because I'm not going to be able to get you into back to port, but I could have one of my guys take you back to the ship, back to the city with a rowboat if we need to. Like what's after that?
Where are
Good.
you going after that?
Well, honestly, I was thinking of going north up the coast.
That is probably not a bad plan.
Yeah.
Maybe book.
I know that they're supposed to be here to help us with all these monsters that keep showing up, but these people give me bad vibes. And I mean, a lot of them seem like they're just people, but I don't know. These guys put that building went up scary fast, and I don't understand what all of these constructs are doing, and I I got a bad feeling.
You are not wrong.
Don't sign anything with them without checking very closely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't, but a lot of people have.
Oh,
So, yeah. So I think you are getting close to where your, um, where you would expect your platform to be, like the approximate location. But
Okay.
you're still talking about a relatively small platform and is relatively like
Well,
imprecise. So,
I can cast locate object,
mm-hmm.
and it lasts for 10 minutes at a time.
Okay. So go ahead with that locate object. So make a perception check.
Perception. Oh dear. Maybe I'll cast another spell before I cast that one then, if I'm gonna have to find it myself.
Oh. Well, someone
Uh,
make a perception check before you do your locate object. It was basically to try to see how close you are to being in the right spot.
oh wow.
So I just rolled a
Hold on.
natural 20.
Well,
That
there
brings
you
it to
go.
32.
Okay. Well, I think Vertigo is about ready to cast locate object when Lynn just spots the thing. Says, "Hey, what's that? What's that little non-moving speck I see in the water?" But as you get a little closer, instead of seeing the like the platform that you're expecting, you see a sort of like specifically unmoving thing that's not like going, it's not moving with the water surface, which is why it kind of stood out. But you see what looks like a big mound of some sort of like rubbery texture stuff that is just like there's a pile of something almost, except the water seems like it should be too deep for that, but there's just sort of like 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 a hill is rising up out of the water, but it's sort of like dark gray, sort of rubbery looking.
Does it at
that's
all
gross.
resemble the giant blob?
No.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Captain, are you familiar with that at all? Has that ever happened before?
So that's not what you were expecting to see.
Not the
No.
rubbery parts.
Well, I can't say that I am familiar with anything remotely like that. If you want to go closer, I'm going to request that perhaps you can go in a rowboat, and I'm going to keep my ship a little ways back from whatever that thing is.
I
Doesn't have to
was
be that
thinking I could
close.
fly over there and take a closer look.
I can make it up 270 feet if that helps.
I mean, I was
Um,
offering a rowboat. If you don't want the rowboat, that's fine with me.
yeah, rowboat's probably a good thing to have, just in case.
Okay.
Okay, we'll take the rowboat.
How close do we think we'll get? Like estimating distance?
He wants to keep the ship about 300 feet from whatever this thing is.
300. Okay.
This blob hill thing that you're seeing it's something like 15 feet like across, approximately round the part that's above the surface.
And is it moving or is it just emerging
Well,
or is
so
it
as the water sort of moves, as ocean surface tends to do, it stays very still, which
okay?
is unusual and suggestive,
Okay.
if I may. But it is certainly not what you would expect. So like
And
it sort of
Almost
maybe
like it's
ripples
immovable?
it like flexes a little bit, like it seems like it's not entirely immune to the water, but it is clearly fixed.
and is there any sense of how far below the platform it is, or is it overwhelming the platform? I wasn't
The
sure.
water is not super clear here. It's clear that you're seeing something that is rising above the surface from something that's bigger below.
Okay. But when the water goes over, it kind of vanishes beneath the tides.
I mean, it doesn't really ever completely go under.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that, like, the part that you're seeing is this is a bigger thing, and you are seeing the part that is above the surface.
Okay.
But you also remember that your platform with the immovable rods in it was like a floating platform.
Right. So like a
So
kraken
like
ate it.
like what it looks like is if someone had like a gigantic rubber tarp that like they had put over the top of the platform and then were like pulling it down around the edges.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Boat, I guess.
Oh,
Yep.
All right.
I'm going to cast mage armor on myself.
All right.
Oh wait, I don't think that works anymore.
You don't think mage armor works anymore? What do you mean?
Because the target's base AC becomes 13 plus its dex modifier. And I have armor now.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
So I don't think it would.
I mean, mage armor is not designed to just be additive on top of whatever else you have. It's designed to be armor-like when you don't have armor otherwise.
That's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
why I said never mind. Because I think I got armor, so it's not great, but
yeah. Okay. So, as you are all in this rowboat making your way over there, I do have a Roll20 map. Let me put move my little flag for you onto that page, and switch our street there, folks.
row.
Yeah, so
row your
you'll
boat.
notice as you look at this that this thing is bigger than 15 feet across, as I mentioned, but it's because the shape reflects like how much you can kind of see as you look down into the surface. The part that is above the surface is about 15 feet across, but you can see as it goes down further down, and so this is about how much you can see.
Okay.
And as we get closer, is there any more detail about it, or does it still seem that uniform?
Make a perception check.
Globby. Oh well. Nope. Looks like a glob to me.
Well, yeah, but you're also not the highest perception. You got some passive perception folks in there. I was like,
Yeah.
So it does have like this rubbery sort of texture to it. It is not entirely uniform. It's a little mottled here and there. By and large, all dark gray. It's got a few places where you can see there's like barnacles stuck to it.
so it's a whale. I rolled a 25 for perception.
Yeah, okay.
Don't they use whales in their agriculture? Wasn't that a thing?
Who?
I'm remembering that one shot we did where we built the map and
Oh.
everything. So
Uh,
I feel like whales were a thing.
Maybe. I'm sorry, I don't remember. That's not what this is. So yeah, so I think that with that 25, it does look like some kind of like the texture of the skin of some kind of a sea creature, like a squid.
I was
But
going to say,
obviously
are
big.
there any tentacles anywhere?
Not yet.
Do we see any tentacles? Because I don't like them.
Not yet.
Okay. All right, it's alive. That's all I know. And it's like
So something tried to grab the shiny object, I guess.
or it
Yeah.
swallowed it.
Oh, well, not entirely.
Do we poke the tentacled bear?
I mean, like we sort of had this problem before, but it was a pig.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
We could feed
I
it the
mean, we
tower and
could.
then make the
I was gonna
tower go full
say,
size.
yes, that was my thought.
I mean, that was a little more visceral than I was thinking. Okay. It's like, yeah, just
Well, do
make
you
it
have
throw
a
up like we
tower
did the
just-
other one.
Well, maybe it
No,
will
we're gonna
just
grow a
simply
tower inside of it and skewer the thing.
maybe it will just simply go away if it feels threatened and give up its prize.
Yeah, when has
Or
that
if
ever
it
happened?
swallowed it, it's not going to do that because it
Mhm.
can't move. Like obviously it can't. It can't move. So it either swallowed
Oh,
it or it's wrapped tight around it.
all right. So, do we poke the tentacled bear?
I think the question is, do we have a choice?
I don't think we do. If
And I need to think better when I get up in the mornings because I totally could have like equipped water walk or something. You're like shape water.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
that's
I'd
poor
have water
planning for
walk.
you.
Hold on, let me
But do you
see.
have it? Do you have it equipped? Like, did
Yes,
you? Oh, really?
yes.
Nice.
It's good for an hour.
How many people can you cast it on? Just one?
Hold on.
I think one casting of that spell does a bunch of people.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ones that doesn't require concentration, I think.
It does not require concentration.
Nice. What level
Uh,
spell is that?
Third.
Up to 10 willing creatures of your choice within range gain this ability for the duration. I cast Water Walk.
All right.
Spell grants the ability to move across liquid surfaces.
So,
Man, we could have used that in the slime world.
Yep.
That's why I equipped it.
we do learn eventually.
Yes.
Does anybody have a guess at how heavy that might be?
That thing?
Yeah.
I mean, how much?
I'm gonna
Does-
estimate very.
Mhm.
Can we be a little more
That's a good
specific?
estimate.
Several tons.
Way more than that.
Way more than that.
Way more than that.
Although if it's being held up by
Immovable rods?
Right, that does put an upper limit as to how heavy it should be, otherwise it would be moving. Although two of them working together might be more than I can manage.
Hmm.
I could try levitating it, but that's a maximum of 500 pounds.
Well, then, I mean, I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
So
Not-
Zinman
not
cast
even
Water
remotely
Walk on all
close.
of us, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm gonna hop out and I'm gonna go touch the thing.
Okay.
I'm going to, before you do that, I'm going to cast Death Ward on you. Because I ain't messing around.
Yeah, like sitting here looking at it's not gonna get us very far. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go over there and touch the thing.
All right.
All right. I cast Aid at 4th level. So everybody gets 15 additional hit points. Real hit points.
That's where your maximum increases.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So you all will be able to move
Alright.
your tokens. Let me know if you can't.
Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, I can.
So, you go up and you touch it. It is warm, but that it's been kind of sitting in the sun. It's rubbery in texture. It doesn't seem to react very much to you kind of touching it like that, but it feels like it's sort of very thick skin.
Mm.
So it definitely does feel like something alive, right?
Well, I mean, it is a similar texture to sort of, cephalopod type sea creatures, but obviously very big.
Right. Um, I wonder if we can talk to it. Like, I think it's probably not intelligent, but I mean, should try, right? At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll try speaking to it with telepathy.
Hello? Do you understand me? It may
Gosh.
not understand.
Okay, let me think. Hang on just a second. Telepathy is like it's any creature, right? What remind me what the how your telepathy works?
It is the telepathic. Speak telepathically to any creature as long as you share a language.
Okay. You have an immediate sense as soon as you open this sort of link that you have something that is currently in uneasy slumber. And that to try to communicate further would probably wake it up, and you don't. So I'm just gonna, you have a sense that there is certainly a mind here that is currently sleeping fitfully.
Well, somewhat intelligent, dreaming, um, not responding because it's asleep. I could try to probe its mind or dream with it, I suppose.
Can you
Do we
tell
know?
what it is?
Yeah, that's the question. Do we know what it is?
Like,
Intelligent, large sea creature is about all I understand. I can look into its mind and see more.
is it a dragon turtle?
I don't know. I've never met one
Is
before.
it a kraken?
But he will cast detect thoughts.
Okay. I think that the surface thoughts that you get are of the nature of um, uh, someone who has eaten something that's kind of profoundly disagreeing with them. They feel very uncomfortable, very unhappy, but trying to rest. And that's kind of the surface thoughts, but again, is of a sleeping creature.
Well, it's not happy about having eaten what we were looking for. I can look deeper, try to find out more, but
Does it have a sense of self that I
Can
can pick
you?
up? Like it's
It's
like it's
asleep. You don't know.
okay.
Not. It's surface level thoughts of a sleeping creature is not going to give you very
Okay.
much.
Can you cast locate object on the diamond of infinite facets?
I can.
Because if it's not in there, maybe we should just run away.
Before I do, should I look deeper into its mind? Because
No, I
No.
think that's a good
I
idea.
can
No.
only concentrate on one thing at a time.
I don't think you should mess with it anymore.
All right.
I will cast locate object for the
Right.
diamond of infinite facets.
It's right where you left it.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you get when you do it? Can you gauge like how close it is? Like, can you,
Sense the direction.
but
And if
not
it's in
like the
motion, I know the
distance?
direction of motion, but not exactly. But if
Okay.
I move back and forth at all, it'll be
Yeah.
very
No.
obvious that it's in
Yeah.
one spot. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean,
All
it's
right.
it's right there. It is. I think all the more clear now that um, this thing swallowed the platform and found that it could not, could not swim away.
Hmm.
So
So
what
we
we
need
need,
a really good what do they call that? It's not an
expectorant.
no, it's not an
No,
expector.
no,
It's
no.
something else.
Really
But you
big
know what I
bottle
mean.
We
of
need some ipecac.
syrup of
Yes,
ipecac.
that.
Yeah. Yes.
Or a
Would
very large
something
knife.
Uh,
I was
it's too
I
bad that
thinking
like
have a
something.
plague or
really
something wouldn't
large
make them
nice.
nauseous.
I could cast um, uh, blade barrier right on this thing, and we could have sushi.
I would rather not go that direction, if
It's too
possible.
large for me to move.
I'm just saying these are options. I'm just saying it's an option. I'm not saying I'm gonna do it.
Okay. So we're trying to get this thing without waking it up and causing a fight. But hmm.
Can anyone breathe water? Maybe we could like crawl inside of it, grab the diamond and go? Like Misty
Like
step
that's
out?
a. Oh, you could do dimension door.
I can, but I would have to be inside the thing.
You would have to
Yeah.
breathe water and crawl inside.
Um, I don't have any
Right
water
now, with
breathing.
water walk up, you cannot make yourself go below the surface.
Oh, snap. Oh.
It's got to be even weird because there are waves here, right? So we're kind of
Mhm.
standing as the water
Mm.
moves
Yeah.
up and down.
Hmm.
I always had kind of the sense that it's a little bit like walking on a trampoline, meaning like you do sort of hold the part you're on down a little bit. It's not like you're literally going up and down with it, but it is nonetheless like you sort of, your feet, press in a few inches or so, and then the rest of the water is kind of like rising around your feet.
Hmm.
So I'm looking at the spell now because I want to make sure.
Oh,
Is there
man.
a size limit on polymorph?
Um,
I think there is like there's like,
well,
Because
what is it?
just
Like
are
as a
up
creature,
to.
we also,
like
you guys
how
also
big is
did
something
polymorph a
that
god.
can't? Yeah. So in theory, there's no reason you can't polymorph something big enough if it's fails your throw.
Right. So, option, I could polymorph the thing into something smaller and less threatening, maybe. You can try it.
Yeah,
And then maybe we can do this without something getting hurt.
I like
I'm,
that.
I mean, I don't know if it's already technically eaten the things, and whether they would either restrict it from changing or just change with it.
We just wouldn't be able to move it.
But we couldn't get at the things either.
Yeah, it says the gear melds into the new form, but the creature can't activate, use, weld, or otherwise benefit from any of its equipment. What I'm actually thinking is that we shrink it. Sounds so bad. Shrink it, and then when we're on dry land, I can drop it.
But it wouldn't move because
Yeah, if
the
it's got
rods
the
would be
movable
inside of
thing,
it.
then that's a yeah. Um, hmm.
I
Well, but don't
understand.
we know the control rod words, right? We know
It's a button.
It's a
it's a
button.
button.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we
well,
have to get inside it.
what if we shrink it down and then make it throw up? Maybe it'll shoot its body off behind the thing and the stuff will stay in place. I don't know.
Well, I think if the gear melds with it, that's not there anymore. It's a part of its being.
No, yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, it would still be inside it. It's like
Yeah.
if it swallowed it, it would still be inside it. So
But it might be a part of it then, no longer a separate entity that can throw up.
Mm.
It's
this
unhappy
is
with having eaten
ridiculous.
this, so it could be potentially convinced. Zinhorn, you're very good at convincing animals to do things.
Uh,
I'm gonna get back in the
I
boat because I don't think
am.
I've done that yet. Just standing out here bobbing up and down in the water,
Mm-hmm.
yelling back and forth. Anyway.
I mean, I would have to wake it up to try animal handling. I've never worked with a giant squid or whatever this thing is. Uh, but I mean, I'd be willing to give it a shot. I mean, I know how to get Buster to spit things up. I can't be that much different.
I can give you the ability for it to understand you
Oh, that would be cool.
if it understands. Huh.
Fish
Actually,
language?
it might be more interesting to give it the ability to understand us.
Yeah.
Do it.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
He'll go over to the creature. It is
Mm-hmm.
a touch spell. And cast tongues on it.
Okay.
So it can now understand any spoken or signed language that it hears or sees. If the when the target communicates by speaking or signing, any creature that knows at least one language can understand it if that creature can hear the speech or see the signing. So it flailing with its arms, if that's kind of a language communication, that
So
might actually work.
as soon as you cast a spell on it,
Yeah.
that spell doesn't, I don't think, have anything like where you can resist with, like, if you're
Nope.
unwilling, right? It just happens.
It just happens.
But as soon as you cast a spell on it, it reacts. The sort of surface here definitely like lurches and flexes, and for a moment you can see where, like, pulling against where the immovable rods are holding the platform in place. You don't see like a platform shape. What you see is kind of 2 points, like probably the platform itself has been crushed to nothing in there, and it's just the 2 rods remaining, each of which can support 8,000 pounds.
Oh, it's 8,000. Wow. Okay.
Each of them is.
Wow.
And so it is like flexing and sort of pulling against that. You can sort of see where, like, it bulges out a little bit as the rest of it tries to move. But then from around behind you and then across and several other places, you see tentacles start to rise up out of the water. And then it lurches forward above, and an enormous head rises up out of the water. Let's see. And we're gonna roll initiative.
Zinhorn, your turn.
I think, technically speaking, because we're so close to the end of a regular session, I think that we will let's actually leave the initiative for start of next session.
Okay.
But yes, you've got a very upset, very angry, very indigestive Kraken. I was laughing to myself when Jenny just called it earlier. It's like, oh, Kraken probably ate it. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. So in any case, though,
now can I polymorph it?
Please.
You can certainly try.
Well, again, we might have the same problems, though.
But yes, but like I said, I think we will have to see how that goes when we return next time for more adventure on so many levels.
So many
many
tentacles
creatures
and
and
levels
things.
of pain that are about to hit us.